through and improving our budget process, which is what we've been focusing on this morning, and really getting clarity for us as a board on ensuring that it's meeting our needs, and efficient process with the president as well in administration. So that's a key priority. And then the other piece for me that feels really exciting and in honor as well as the 60th anniversary. So excited to be able to have the opportunity to represent the board in that capacity as well. With that, I'd like to, may I have a motion to move forward to approve the nominations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor to approve the nomination of Andrew Spear for board chair? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move to position of vice chair. And I'd now like to open the floor for nominations of vice chair.
Chair, I'd like to nominate Will Miller as vice chair.
There's a nomination. Is there a second? Okay, it's been nominated and second. Are there any other nominations? All right, hearing none, do you have anything you want to say, Will?
I'm just deeply honored and excited to work with the board. I think similarly around the budget process, around our 60th anniversary, and really elevating, I think, just our community engagement and our presence around the 60th. So just very honored.
Great, thank you.
Can I just mention something?
Yes.
Will, just appreciate you stepping into that position. I think you'll do a great job. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve Will Miller as vice chair?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations. Do you want to sit next to me? All right. Next, we'll move to public input. For persons wishing to provide public comments who are attending in person, please sign up by completing the sign-in sheet with your name, the name of the organization or group represented, if any, and a statement noting the agenda item or topic to be addressed to the board. The sign-in sheets are located on the table at the entrance to the meeting. For persons wishing to provide public comments via Zoom, we ask that you sign up by using the raise hand feature in Zoom. It's available at the bottom of your screen. When you are called to provide comments, please clearly state your full name, name of the organization or group represented, if any, and the agenda item or topic you wish to address to the board for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. Per board policy, the board has allotted 30 minutes for public input. As a reminder, the board will hear comments or objective criticisms of college operations and programs, but comments about individual college personnel should be directed to the board chair or president outside of this meeting. We will now hear public comments at this time. Roxanne, are there any?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Matthew and Chrissy, please go join us here at the table so that you're both ready. And whoever is ready first, please turn on your mic and go ahead and start. 2 fingers. There you go.
Hi. My name is Matthew Locke. I am with the IAM. I'm also a student. The IAM is a union, Local Machinists Union, Local 63. And I have a brief statement. So I'm a student at Mount Hood Community College, participating through the Boeing's machining apprenticeship program. Sorry. I initially attended Mount Hood in 2004, returned in 2020, attained my degree in machine tool technology in 2022, as well as my general ed through Mount Hood. And in about a year and a half, I will be obtaining my 3rd degree through Mount Hood Community College. I'm active in the community where I do outreach with, I have participated in Mount Hood programs, including recruitment events, outreach for recruiting for my company, as well as hosting students for your foreign exchange program. I'm active in my union, Local 63. I sit on the executive board, and I'm a delegate on the Oregon Machinist Council, representing 1,400 members in the community. And it's in this capacity that I'm addressing you today. In March of 2026, the administration of Mount Hood abruptly decided to suspend the machine tool technology program with the possibility of shutting it down. The program was paused 3 months later. This program was up to this point invaluable feeder program into the area's manufacturing industry. Several courses provided by the machining program are also required as part of apprenticeship programs. These courses will no longer be offered through Mount Hood. The closure of the machining program represents a significant blow to the manufacturing industry in this region. We are seeking for you to reestablish the machining program at Mount Hood. We urge the administration to reverse the decision and commit to a long-term preservation of the vital technical pathway. Machining is the cornerstone of Gresham manufacturing sector. Being connected via 84 to the I-5 corridor places Gresham and the greater Portland metro area in the center of the Silicon Forest. Local shops rely on consistent pipeline of skilled labor provided by Mount Hood. Closing this program risks workforce shortages and threatens the stability of a high-precision industry. Boeing, Intel, Gerber, Precision Castparts, and Cascade are but a few companies that Mount Hood Community College Machinists programs feed into. The machining program offered a direct pathway to high-demand family wage careers. Graduates frequently earn well above the regional median income, providing a critical avenue of economic mobility for those not pursuing a traditional four-year degree. This program provided training necessary to further manufacturing careers. To make the jump from an assembly position to a machining position is very difficult, if not impossible, without access to the tools of the trade. Technical competence in machining requires industry-grade equipment, direct instructor mentorship. Equipment costs thousands of dollars for a single machine. It is imperative that we keep this equipment in our community and readily available to its citizens. Once dismantled, the loss of specialized equipment, faculty, expertise, and industry partnership will be permanent. Rebuilding such program in the future would be financially and logistically prohibitive. The reputational loss would further frustrate efforts to reestablish the viable training center. 90% of Mount Hood's machining students were being placed into manufacturing industry. Will it still be the case once this pause is over? When informed of the program suspension, commercial and community leaders offered to help funding. These offers demonstrate the value this program provided to the community at large. However, these offers have been rebuffed. Left with few alternatives, we are forced to look outside the school for remedy. In that effort, we have met with Oregon's federal representatives regarding the suspension of Mount Hood's machining program, and we plan to continue to raise our concerns with our state and local representatives. We ask that you reconsider the suspension of the Mount Hood Community College program machining program, and that you reinstate the program without delay. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, put two fingers on the center pad. There you go. You're on. Go ahead when you're ready.
Hello, my name is Chrissy Bloom, and I am retired full-time faculty at Mount Hood Community College. I'm on the cusp of year 36 as I aim to still teach whenever it is that I actually am allowed on assignment. I also am a taxpayer of this district for the last 35 years. I'm very involved locally. It was so cool to hear all the things you're involved with beyond the college. I volunteered for the Climate Reality Project. I go into the schools, teach about climate education with a whole team of people. I also volunteer for the repair fairs, of which the first one I did was on this campus that Troy talked about at this the June 17th meeting, along with a whole bunch of other things. But my love is teaching. Thanks for being receptive to some things I'd like to share with you. one of the things as retired faculty that I notice in myself and others that I keep in touch with is that I have a different cognitive load than y'all do now. And as educators, cognitive load is a huge issue in how we teach and present and the pace and all the things that help people learn, absorb, retain, and then move on with their skills. And so my cognitive load has been different because I am not at the same pace that it took me to keep up with being here. I was grateful to get to be on the team of people that opened up the Bruning Center in 2004, opened up the first medical simulation lab in the state, as well as to double enrollment that same year and to move there. That in itself was a big deal. Plus, we started a brand new curriculum called the Oregon Center for Nursing Education, OCNE. And we were the first school that participated in that. And I got to be a part of creating that curriculum along with OHSU. In my retired time, I also was recruited to come up to OHSU and teach as faculty in their simulation lab, which was a remarkable experience. Same curriculum, easy transition. But I choose to be here. I live outside of Boring, and I prefer not to be commuting all the way down into Portland to OHSU despite loving it. I was on Zoom this morning to listen to y'all on the session, and I really appreciated hearing from all of the board members on your perceptions and experience of the budget process, especially over the last several months. I'm digesting what I heard from all of you and also from the administrative team with Lisa, Jennifer, etc. It was maybe not quite an hour ago, I heard Andrew, you talk about situation you were talking about, feeling like some things were falling on deaf ears by the governor, Tina Kotek. And I will say that that type of perception of what that feels like, to have things feel like they've fallen on deaf ears, is what I would say I also felt from what transpired over the last several months. I heard you, Diane, articulate concerns that perhaps people weren't necessarily understanding what you all have to do with and all the things behind the scene. And I think that the vast majority of human beings base how they behave, what they do based on their frame of reference, their life experience, their training, their experiences in all kinds of settings. And it's normal that we grow and we ebb and we flow. And also our emotional intelligence. I've studied that intensely because I've also taught coast to coast on this in this country and abroad at 4 locations at professional medical simulation conferences for free, along with all the other people that did that same, representing Mount Hood Community College as a speaker. And what I focused on was emotional intelligence in simulation. And what I believe, and I know from the research, is it tends to grow as we age, but it can also waver and wane. But typically it tends to grow as we move along. So I related to the statement you were talking about, and I think with frame of references, all of us in this room could say, yeah, I base things on my lived experiences, what I've had in this human lifetime. So same for me. Same thing comes up for me when I think about administrators, board members maybe feeling, well, they don't even know what we have to go through. I think we can all relate to that, even if it's like on a family level type of thing. And so I guess what I would encourage all of you to ask yourselves is if that is what your sense is about, from whether it's students or faculty or other managers, people in the community, people like Larry coming forward, if that is in fact what people are thinking, who's accountable for them not knowing what is going on behind the scenes to an appropriate level so that they can make discerning decisions about what they might say and how they might respond. Stephen Covey, who wrote the book.
Can I just ask, you're at almost 5 minutes. Can I ask you to please wrap
The
up?
clock's not even on. How would I know?
Well, I've been tracking on my watch.
Okay, it would just be helpful to know that in advance. I
Sure.
noticed
I
that
couldn't get it.
Larry.
My apologies. So
Okay, well, it's good to know. I thought, well, the clock's not on, and it wasn't my job to make sure somebody sets the clock. So I will wrap it up. Stephen Covey, in his book of 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, supported the idea of seek to understand. And there's parts of what has transpired that don't appear to that have happened, despite impassioned statements by a whole lot of people who all of you heard and I heard. And so I also have experienced my job being eliminated at this college 2 different times and those processes and what happened. So I just want to make note of that. The other thing I'm just going to put out there, which I also included on my public statement, is I came here, some of you weren't here at the time, last June, last September, about the lighting situation at the Burning Center. Because I did open up that building, I do know that we could push a button and the lights would go on. We could push a button and the lights could go off. So when we are in these difficult times of budget and money, the lights still don't work. I was told, oh, they were fixed. They are not fixed. They can go half lighting downstairs, but in terms of taxpayer money and as a taxpayer, I'm disappointed that I think it started in 2017. The lights still do not turn off. And it just seems like it might be a reasonable place to save some money. Understand where nursing is coming back to this campus. We were here before, but that's going to be a bit before it happens. So maybe that just could really be addressed easily and maybe save the college some money. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your receptivity to what I had to say. And I apologize for blowing it on the timeline
No worries.
without the mechanism to actually
Sure.
keep track of that.
Thank you. We have the member online to give public testimony. Please go ahead when you're ready. Ian, please state your name and the topic you wish to address to the board.
Hi, my name is Luke Davis. I'm a learning specialist at Mount Hood Community College. And today I just wanted to talk about trust. I want to talk about it openly and constructively with you. At the June 17th TSCC meeting, Jennifer Dement said, quote, "There's a lot more work to do to be more transparent," unquote. I hope that the implication is that the administration is going to do more work to be more transparent. I hope that is genuine and that these were not empty words spoken just to reach surface level satisfaction with an outside body. If these words are genuine and the administration wants to rebuild trust, I have 2 suggestions today. I use the word rebuild. In the past few months, I've heard several rumors. I'm not one to believe every rumor I hear, but I'll give a few examples. The administration is trying to cover up something illegal. The administration monitors, filters, and/or edits emails sent to the board members' MHCC email addresses. The unions are making up lies to spread division. I don't say these things to say whether they're true or not. I'm saying these to point out, yes, there's a lot more work that needs to be done to be more transparent. My first suggestion, at the TSCC meeting, did you notice that they both acknowledged written public comment and summarized each individual piece? Not only that, if you go to their website, it's easy to find and it's accessible for free. Unlike at Mount Hood Community College, where you have to pay $25 to access the public comment. I think this is a great example that we should strive for. I think that if these board meetings incorporate that into their public comment, I think that would help encourage transparency instead of just ignoring written public comment. My second suggestion, I think we all make mistakes. And over the past few meetings, we have spoken, we have written, and we have emailed about false things being stated by administrators. Whether or not that was intentional or not, I don't know, but false things were said. And we have expressed our concern, and nothing has happened. And these false statements, by the way, were not only made to board members, but were also made to the TSCC, as I emailed each of you board members individually about my concerns there. Allowing administrators to supply false information without any accountability doesn't create trust. It corrodes it. Personally, my distrust of the administration stems from this. If the administration repeatedly said things that aren't true about my own job, how can I believe what they say about my colleagues? I can't. I don't expect the administration to be perfect and recall every single little detail of this wide campus during a board meeting, but I do expect faithful efforts at truthfulness and acknowledgments and accountability when false information is shared. If I'm with a student and I say something that's not true, I correct myself and I make sure the student knows what I said isn't true. This is something I'd like to see from the administration. Let's see an all-staff email acknowledging that false information was shared with the board members and the TSCC and how the people who shared it are being held accountable for the future. Until then, when the administration says something, I don't know how to separate false from true. I give these suggestions not to try to create further divide, but to try to give you places to start in rebuilding this trust. I hope you take my suggestions into consideration, and I hope that we can go on this journey of rebuilding trust together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Roxanne, is there anyone else with their hand up? Okay. With that, that concludes public comment. Thank you for those who provided comments today. Next item is correspondence. And Dr. Scar, do you have any correspondence to share with the board?
I do not.
Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is the resolution to approve the budget calendar for 27, excuse me, wait, yeah, that's 27, 28? No, sorry. For 2027, 2028 budget. I would like to invite Jennifer Demit to present the resolution to approve the budget calendar for 27, 28.
Can you all see that? Me neither. Hang on just a second. Let me zoom in. Okay, so like we talked about this morning, the budget calendar and appointing the budget officer has legally required steps in the budget process. The budget officer was in the consent agenda. I pulled this out so we could have a discussion about it. There are legally required parts to the budget calendar, and those are listed on this front page here, or the legally required steps. So those things are included in the calendar, but then we've also included other things in the budget calendar that are more just internal steps or board steps in the budget process. And so, and I'm not going to be able to get this zoomed in and all displayed, but the gold circles on the calendar are those kind of internal dates. The red ones are those legal dates. So July 15th at 26th, that's the date that we have to file the current year's budget with the tax assessor's office. July 7th today is the work session that we had this morning to go through the budget process. We've added in September, received board guidance on budget philosophy. And these other ones are just kind of our normal quarterly board budget updates. So November enrollment update, budget impact, and review final results from prior year. January, board receives the audit. Board reviews second quarter results and budget assumptions. In March, board approves switch duties. This is traditionally what we've done, although I did hear discussion this morning about potentially moving that up. But so if things are on this calendar, we can add to it through a modification here. Also, those non-legal things can be deviated from. So just want to qualify if you could leave it at March, and if the board later decides they want to do it earlier, or we could actually amend it to move it earlier. It's not a required part of the budget. And then the public notices for the budget committee meetings, and then April is where things get a lot more intense. So we have the proposed budget being presented to the budget committee on April 7th. I added an additional budget committee meeting for the 14th, and we usually only have two, and then one on the 21st. So if there is more public comment, we've just built it into the calendar so it's noticed ahead of time. If we don't need an extra meeting, we can cancel the meeting, but you can't add it at the last minute. So added that, 3 budget committee meetings, and then we get to May. May 14th is that deadline to get the budget submitted to the Tax Supervising Conservation Commission. So that's the absolute last date. And then start posting notices for the June board meetings, where the TSCC hearing happens, as well as the board adoption of the budget.
Questions, Larry?
Thank you. This is awesome. Quick question though. By accepting this resolution, we're we're not married to it, but we know where the roadmap is. Is it okay if we are able to accept this and then make modifications? Because I think there may be the desire to move things around, maybe the budget schedule in April and do other things.
Yes, yeah, we could modify it later. We just have to have a budget calendar adopted.
We allowed for the language that has the March, I think we have a accept tuition and fees. Could we have language say no later than March? So if we decided to approve earlier, then at least we know that we have to make a decision by then. We obviously can amend it, but it may at least globally set expectations in regards to what's being done on your side of the house with the back and the rest.
Yes, yeah, are you
Okay.
proposing an amendment to the calendar?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to maybe say no later than March. So at least it gives us window if we wanted to move it up earlier. At least we know generally what that timeline may be or what. Yeah.
Does language require a motion or?
I mean,
don't-
we could include it at the end if we want. Did you have other items?
I just have one other item. Why, two other items, actually. One item is on the 7th, the 14th, the 21st. If we submit that, those are the dates that, at least preliminarily, we're going to have budget hearings, but we could move them with notice and all the right communication.
Yes, I mean, those are pretty critical dates, for like the legally required dates to have like receive the budget message, have public input. So those are ones where we need advance notice.
The reason I mentioned that is I think if the goal is to get schedule diversity, it would be great if we could have maybe on a different day or a different time as we get to like, I don't know, that Wednesday night works for everybody that may want to participate is my thought. So I'm wondering what flexibility we have to amend or.
Oh, are you suggesting to hold a budget hearing or two at different times of day?
I'm open to those dates for now, but I think we may get into September and have different discussions and may want to move them around those dates in April.
I think the one thing we just want to make sure is because of the notification, we can change the dates, but we probably, if we're going to do anything by what, Jennifer, March 17th is the latest we could do any additional or do any date changes.
For notices?
Yeah.
It would, because it's at least 10 days, so we would need to know before March.
So in one of the calendars for the fall, it would be helpful maybe that we all get on the same page as we talk about finance and budget committee to make sure we set expectations for who and how we're talking about that.
So for a change like that, we would want to have a new approved budget calendar, which would be an action item for the board.
At some point between now and, okay. Okay, but we have the ability to do that. Should we decide to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last thing is after we have at least preliminarily accepted this and we approve it, are we going to communicate that to faculty and classified or the students to let them know that here's what the board has moved forward with and process improvement? Or what's the notification process for like, we've accepted a budget?
For the budget calendar?
Yes.
So we haven't published it like separately. But given kind of our direction with the new budget process, I think that will be rolled out probably in September when people are back on campus.
Sweet.
So
Okay.
we'll start like working on getting input before then, but yeah.
I just think it's important. I know that we're trying to do things differently. I want to make sure that people have know that we are thoughtful about that. But I deeply appreciate this work. Thank you.
One quick comment. So I just want to caution to Larry's point, in your suggestion to add dates versus take away dates. So if we're gonna change it and approve an amended calendar for that particular week that you mentioned, maybe adding secondary dates in that week for flexibility versus changing it and then having to cancel and have that notice be impacted. Is that a possibility?
I mean, I would prefer if like that, so that date that I added on the 14th is one that's out of cycle with our board meetings, and I literally just dropped it on a Wednesday. If you have a preference to move that somewhere else, I would love to just do it now. If we could get there, just because then when we start publishing, this becomes a part of our budget training documents and everything that we roll out, so then people will see, like, then we're not changing it later.
So the question that I have for, I guess, this group is then, is there a desire in the month of April? It seems like they're pretty all concentrated on Wednesdays to do either something on a weekend or all on evenings, or some maybe when students are on campus. These are just questions that I have as we think about the engagement globally as a board, but I think that's what we're here to kind of talk through that perhaps.
Any thoughts to that question?
I would be interested in finding an alternative day of the week, just to add variety for folks to engage. I don't really care what that looks like. I think in practice, I just want to make sure that there's multiple opportunities for engagement.
Just so synthesizing what I've heard and kind of move us along, what if we did the 7th during the regular board meeting time, and then the 13th of April in the afternoon, and then the 22nd during the day? I'm just making stuff.
I have a question. What if we kept all three of those Wednesdays? Because it gives people more time and more opportunity. We may not need the Wednesdays if we front load them either on the 12th or 13th or midweek. I'm wondering, like, if we keep all the Wednesdays,
Yeah,
we added a Thursday or a Monday, then we have 5 budget meetings for the month of April. We may only need 2 because of the work that the back did and the rest.
I was gonna suggest that the 14th move to like a noontime meeting, just so it's accessible in a different way. And then, yeah, if there's another date or two that we want to add in.
Like Monday, the 12th. So we have 7, 12, 14, and 21.
Sure. I mean,
Sure.
is that agreeable to all? And another daytime date or a evening time?
Seems like we should have 2 during the day, 2 in the evening, right?
What if we did like 7 at the evening, 12th during the day, the 14th during the evening, and the 21st during the day? Kind of like
Well,
alternating.
the
or
21st is our normal
board meeting.
board meeting time.
Okay.
Our regular meeting.
Are we required to have that then, or
No, but we would have to redo the board calendar, the larger board calendar.
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep the board days and then mess around with the times on the 12th and the 14th. Because those are not regular board days. Just a suggestion.
So adding in the April 12th date, any time recommendation? Noon again, so 2 noon meetings during the week of the 12th, on April 12th.
It was a good suggestion, Larry.
And this actually doesn't have the time of the meeting, so that's helpful for us, and we can confirm it as we get closer, that the times still work. But the dates are what's important. And when we notice it, we'll need to include the time, obviously, but.
And your other amendment, Larry, you were tuition approved by
I would say board approves tuition fees no later than March.
no later than March, okay.
with the caveat that we may, depending on what happens, need to make an adjustment in June or July or God knows whenever we have the stuff from the state.
We'll have it by June 30th, or if we
Okay.
can't spend money.
Yeah.
Because they have the same rules we do, right?
I have my pen.
And then we're adding a third budget committee meeting.
I guess my point is if they did it on June 30.
At that point, my recommendation, if we're gonna make adjustments, would be to make adjustments for effective fall term. But people are registered for fall term at that point. But we've done then you're not impacting underway in education.
Okay, any other feedback or comments or proposals for amendments to this calendar?
No, I just want to thank you and your team for taking our feedback and sort of shifting things around and presenting this so soon. So thank you.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. So may I have a motion to approve the budget calendar for 26 or 27, 28 with the amendments of adding a June 12th, or excuse me, April 12th meeting at noon for the budget committee and changing the time for the April 14th meeting to noon and including language for the tuition approval to approve tuition no later than March. May I have a motion to approve that with those amendments?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next up is board member and committee liaison reports. And so if there are any items that you would like to update the board on related to your committee assignments, this is the space to do that. Okay. Hearing none, thank you. Closing reports. We will now hear reports from our advisory representatives, and just a reminder to please keep your comments to policy and program matters only. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing your updates. And I don't believe we have anyone from ASMHCC here, correct? No. Okay. So we will move to our union representatives, and our first up is our full-time faculty, Sarah.
I think I have very little to say, but I do want to suggest that I know that you had a conversation about budget process this morning, which I'm hoping to get the recording for. I was in class. I want to request that faculty and staff who are in the trenches, in the know, are included early in the process about decisions. And that would be the main value that I want to express in this conversation. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next up is the CA and Corey.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your moment of time. First of all, we're still dealing with the association and the absolute difficulty of going through layoffs. We're trying to find our people work. We have the right to bump in our contract, so we have employees still getting notified that they're losing their jobs until we go all the way through this process. So it's terrible. We've had to clean this up before. But I would encourage board members to listen to employees that have sent you emails either before you made that decision or after and respond to them directly. You know, it's hard not to be angry and frustrated, so I'm not going to levy that here. I do want to say that I appreciate the partnership that we've had in HR with Aline and Jennifer Justice. Alin, sorry. They too are experiencing a very difficult thing, making decisions based on qualifications and letting people know that they're going to be losing their jobs. So just because that's a process that stopped with a vote last month doesn't mean it's a process that stopped here. It's a terrible thing. And I think that we're going to highlight over the course of this year what we're really losing. One of the challenges some of our employees have faced is we have an administrative regulation, AR 7126. It involves background checks. and employees are required to go through the background check process anytime there's a break in service. I do not believe that the intent of this policy was for those that were laid off and then recalled into service. We have employees now who are unable to return to campus pending a background check. They'll be fine, but it does cost the college more money. It delays the process, and I think an unintended consequence of that policy. So maybe something to consider. We're going to have and work our asses off, pardon my French, to make sure that any employee that's laid off on this campus under our association is pulled back through the layoff recall procedure to the best of our ability. But it would be better if we weren't providing a financial challenge or time barrier challenge to make these decisions, because the longer it takes, the more harm there is. That being said, I think that's my only update and only point on policy. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Marilyn, I see you're online. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready. And my new background is as well. I'm a little surprised. Anyway, cool. First off, I want to mention something to you all in general. And I think Jennifer B is still in the room. So it's specifically under her purview. I attended most of this morning's retreat, very much appreciated all the conversations and everything. I'm going to honor the good work that I believe the administration did to come up with, something to propose to the board. It hasn't been that long. It hasn't been a full month since the June 17th board meeting. So I want to first, and those of you who know me know I don't do a lot of sucking up. So this is not intended in that way. It's intended as truly honoring the good work that's been done in a short period of time. There is one suggestion I want to make to that document before it goes to other people. At MHCC, we have two different unions representing faculty. You know that, Sarah was just speaking. But in the membership of the BAC, it just said faculty. It is important from my perspective that we honor the different perspectives that can be brought to that group by both the full-time faculty and part-time faculty or tutors. And sometimes we have tutors representing us on the different committees, and that's cool. We interview people before we ask them to serve on a committee. So anyway, if we could just make that change, that would be really great, because sometimes it's assumed, but we don't want to assume. And I think that's part of what our discussions have been about. So I want to give the board an update about something that I consider to be pretty positive. I know that you all have experienced some challenging, I'll just call them challenging moments this spring. And behind the scenes, I want you to know that the PFTA sent an impact, a demand to bargain to the college related to the changes that would happen for the AVID learning specialists. Those are people who their title is learning specialist, but they fall within the tutor group under the PFTA. And I want you to know that, with impact bargaining, parties have 90 days in which to bargain about the impacts of the proposed changes in work. And we actively engaged in that bargaining. And we came up with a memorandum of agreement that, okay, it doesn't have everything I'd like to have in it for our learning specialists, but I can see, and I was able to see the college's perspective, and we were able to come up with a compromise that did do some great things. The learning specialists, the two learning specialists who I worked with, helped me understand some things about what they had experienced in the AVID Center that I didn't know about. And I think the document that we ended up with is one that reflects their focus on students and student needs and the variety of students that we have, and what the learning specialist needs are in order to meet those needs. So I wanted to just, a lot of times I don't have a lot to share, but I wanted to share that we did get an MOA on that. I wanted to also let you know that in the spirit of collegiality, we did hold a meeting on a Thursday. I guess it would be 2 Thursdays ago. And it was via Zoom, where all of the learning specialists attended, and we were able to talk them through the entire MOA because we wanted them to know what had been agreed to. It's transparency, but it's also empowerment. And we want our learning specialists to know what has been agreed to on their behalf. And they were very appreciative. So anyway, just wanted to give you an update about that and let you know that it feels like I didn't realize this, but one of our learning specialists who was on the bargaining team said that our team met 12 times. And we met with the college another like 6 times, something like that. So a lot of time was put into it, but I think the outcome is one that both the college and the PFTA can feel good about. And the process was good as well. That's it.
Thank you, Marilyn, for those updates and the recommendations on the budget process.
You bet. Thank you.
And just point of order.
Yeah.
The proposed pilot for the BAC, the membership of that committee is purely in the jurisdiction of Lisa.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify
Yeah.
that was
Sure.
not our purview.
All right. Next up is executive leadership. The executive leadership has included the monthly division reports in the board packet, and we'd like to offer them an opportunity to make any verbal updates that may not have been included in the written comments. And student development, anything to add? Instruction? Administrative services? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a test for you all. No.
Well, maybe. Okay, well then, never mind. Okay, president's report. Lisa, would you like to?
Sure, thank you. So yeah, I did need to clarify there were not VP reports in this packet, partly because we moved the timeline, and so they were busy working on things related to the retreat today, and so they got a pass. And just know that they've been busy working on what you saw this morning. I just want to, first of all, thank you all for the engagement today, the feedback. Hopefully you feel like we're hearing and being responsive to your interests and trying to figure out how we build a better process. As I anticipate, right, when you try new things, some things work really well and some things don't. And so we'll continue to work through that together. But I do appreciate the partnership. And because it's all about making the college stronger and better. With summer, I think we're trying to get organized and looking forward to next year. We have either partnered or are partnering in a few large grants. One, we submitted a Title III grant a couple weeks ago. It probably was a month ago by now. But it's a strengthening institutions grant that would help us build up our infrastructure and be more responsive both to our students, but also employees. And a lot of it is focused on kind of that technological structure that supports our students. As I mentioned before, we're the lead institution of a statewide Department of Labor grant around figuring out how to develop and implement Workforce Pell. And then third, Mount Hood is the lead institution on a National Science Foundation grant. Well, we're the lead community college, but it's in partnership with Oregon State University and the Technology Association of Oregon. And this is around work they're doing to create hubs And the belief is the hubs will be the places that will disperse funds going forward. And so continuing to find ways to be responsive to both our community and the state, specifically around the workforce. And I know I've said this, but I feel like I'm going to keep saying it. Recent stats show that we are the career college. 28% of our students take CTE courses, 12% of PCCs do, and 16% of Clackamas do. So we need to make sure the rest of our region understands that, but also that more importantly, students know that if you're looking for good careers, Mount Hood is the place to come. So looking forward to the summer and figuring out our plans for next year and the 60th. We won't see you for a month or so. We'll be in contact and look forward to September when we kick everything off.
Great.
Questions?
Don't we have a new position that was just filled?
That's right. Thank you, because I said it earlier, but yes, formally welcome Dr. Rashida Willard as our new vice president. It's exciting. I'm not sure she finds it as exciting yet, that it's the idea of it's what she brings or what she brought in her prior role, and then ideas for new things. And so I'm excited about both what she can do within the division, what she can bring to the team, and how she benefits the institution overall. So we're thrilled she's around, and we're thrilled she's in the new role. Well, thank you, Larry.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. All right. Just want to thank you again for your engagement this morning and the discussion around the budget process. I think that's helpful, and we'll continue to have a little bit more refining of that, I think, as we go forward as well. So I expect between now and September, I'll have some discussions with you all as individuals, and we'll shore up a few things. And then we'll also get the final names for the different committee assignments and volunteer opportunities nailed down as well. So thank you again, and excited to serve with you through this year. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Or second.
Second. All right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Meeting's adjourned.